Welcome to Chris and Carlette Live, a podcast about life, love, and overcoming obstacles. Each week, we discuss the good, the bad, and the indifferent of life's interruptions. Now, here's your host, Chris and Carlette.
Keep believing, don't go stressing, keep it moving. God, we're resting, here to help you, here to bless you. With God on our side, CNC Life.
Alrighty, y'all. This is the Chris and Carlette show. Sometimes it's the Carlette show, but you know, we gonna flow with it this week. See what happens. How y'all doing out there? How y'all? Last week we had a good show. My son's birthday, and we had him on. And how are you doing, lovely lady?
You like me in blue, don't you?
I would say something.
You like me in blue, don't you?
I would say something.
My white pearls. You like me? Huh? You like this blue, don't you?
Would say something.
One of my good colors, my good side.
Let me call my
Maybe
referral.
It's this side.
Let me call my referral.
What is it? Why?
Let me call my referral, Mr.
I didn't have no doves.
Let me call Mr. Wilson. Let me Mr. Wilson, that referral that you gave me.
Hello and welcome to Chris and Carlette Live.
That referral.
Yes. Listen.
Our next president. Yeah.
Okay. Hey there, lovely viewers of Chris and Carlette Live. We want to take a moment to say and chat about something real near and dear to our heart. The reason why we ask for your likes and subscribes, okay, and shares on our platform like YouTube and Facebook. First and foremost, your engagement means the world to us. And when you hit that like button, share, subscribe to our channel with your friends and family, you're not just showing support, you're helping our community grow. Your actions tell platforms like YouTube and Facebook that our content is valuable and worth promoting to a wider audience. But let's get real for a moment. It's not just about the numbers or metrics for us. Every like, subscribe, and share represents a connection. It's a way for us to know that what we're creating resonates with you, that it brings you joy, laughter, or maybe even a little bit of inspiration. And that's what keeps us going. So when we ask for your likes, subscribes, and shares, it's not just a request for validation. It's an invitation to be part of something bigger, to join us on this journey of creativity, laughter, and genuine connection. We appreciate each and every one of you who chooses to support us in this way, whether it's simply hitting that like button or sharing our content far and wide. You're the reason we do what we do, and we couldn't be more grateful. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being part of the Chris and Carlette Live family.
All right. So you had your weekend was full of ups and downs, I should say.
It was. I had to go home. Celebration of life for my uncle, the elder in the Church of God in Christ Incorporated, the Grand Old Church. My uncle, Elder Allen Jackson, went to be with the Lord. He literally left labor into reward. He left the pulpit. He left working in the church and was on his way home, and he didn't make it home. But I thank God for angels that were still around him, that came and saw after him and called the ambulance and took care of him. And it wasn't a disaster. It could have went another way. So we thank God for people watching, for angels. Listen, they are encamped all around about us. We pray that, we speak that, we believe that as believers of the Lord Jesus Christ. And so just thank everyone for your prayers, for your calls, your concerns, your messages to our family. But let me tell you something.
Don't fly airplane that starts with FRSR.
Just for me, it was the F, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna pay the extra $400. You hear me good? Y'all ain't gonna. But it was a quick thing. I had to move real quick and fast. I mean, could have did it, could have just, but a trusted person said, "Oh, I flew them before and I was fine." And whoo, when I tell you my back still hurt. But we just thank the Lord I made it. So I'm excited about our topic today. This is something that was near and dear to my heart, and I knew who to call because I know their specialty, and I have watched them. I watched them before I really got to know them. How about that? And so, do you mind if I go ahead and read their bio? Or
Sure,
did you have something
man. This guy's bio.
Oh, it's long.
I mean, it's like super
long.
duper long.
It's kind of like when we grow up.
And look here,
That's what you want,
he has so many titles.
right?
I didn't even put a title on the thing. I just said Willie Diggs the
I know
third.
there's one on the way though.
Yes. There's so many titles. I'm like, my God, this dude is like an expert, a SME, the subject matter expert. But
So
go ahead.
listen, Mr. Willie Diggs, okay, is a pastor, educator, mentor, and a leading voice in global community influencers in the realm of academia, professionalism, and spirituality. Known for his passion to captivate individuals through small talk, he uses mentorship, dialogue, workshops, and books to help individuals discover the path to success and prosperity. As a higher education instructor and community pastor, Willie has helped many achieve success in both ministry and marketplace, impact the communities they serve, and rise to become conduits of change in the world. Now, background in education. Willie is a native of Brundage, Alabama. I drove past there one day, guys. Okay, it's real. They have a sign on the highway. Brundage, exit this, okay? Alabama, born to the late Staff Sergeant Willie F. Diggs and Carolyn Diggs. He was educated at Jackson State University, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Social Work degree and a 2010 graduate from Alabama A&M, where he received a Master's of Social Work degree and currently works as the Director of Field Education. You know, Alabama A&M, start here, go anywhere. That is their logo. He is a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Go Mob. He is married to his loving wife, Shatan, and is the father of 3 boys. Ministry and marketplace. See, we got chapters to this, okay? Willie is a licensed elder through the Church of God in Christ and currently serves as the campus pastor of the Beacon Butler campus in Huntsville, Alabama. The first community church planted under Superintendent Anthony Wheeler of Beacon Hill Worship Center in Madison, Alabama, which is also his first cousin, and he took his bed. So, sharing a strong passion and a burden to see individuals come to a life-altering encounter with the one who gave him life, Pastor Willie continues to spend countless hours mentoring and coaching students to become who God has called them to be. Now, known for his creative approach to teaching, let me tell you, he tell you take copious notes in church. He continues to captivate students by drawing them into the scriptures and assisting them with a life dialogue of learning about the Creator. Having worked with several populations, age groups, and cultures in the social service realm, he and his wife share a strong passion for educating the community and helping people deal with the many social issues that are plaguing our world. In October of 2016, he published his first book, Challenge 21, where he takes readers on a journey of discovering the power of the scriptures. He has since then authored an additional 6 books, all geared toward helping individuals become the best versions of themselves. Okay, here's our final. Him and his wife, Shatan, are the founders of Come Thirsty Ministries Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that develops Christ-centered programs to assist people with changing their lives and the world. The programs include Focus on the Future Mentor Program, Restore Me Community Health Fair, God's Girls Rock, and Come Thirsty Kids. People, join me and welcome to the Chris and Carlette Live Show, the man of many hats and titles, Mr. Willie Frank Diggs, the third.
Family, thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Pastor Willie Diggs.
Yeah.
Man, listen, it's the
third.
blue for me. It's the blue for me. Let me start off there. It's the blue for me. I mean,
we have to, at least patronize. We just have to page. I'm gonna leave
I
it
know
at
it's
that.
hard to find the words. I know.
When we had the Deltas on, I wore red. We've had at least two. I wore red. We've had of course we had Kappas. I've had on black and gold when we had an Alpha. So equal opportunity. Who we haven't had a Sigma Gamma Rho on. Have we had a Q on? Yes, we did, and I wore purple and gold. So listen, I make him mad all the time.
Listen, Lady Carlette, they've had their time, right? They've had their time. I'm excited to be here. Thank you all so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
To be on your platform. I'm excited about our conversation tonight.
Yes. So when this topic came to me, I knew who to call, like I said before. Like watching you and what you your endeavors, what you've been called to, the programs you have been a guest speaker of, or started yourself, or developed, or was the host, or something you did on campus, or traveling across the country, sharing this passion and helping people. And what we did, you help people, but today we had to narrow it down to the young men of this world, of this day and time, and the social cry. And what we mean, we hear you, we see you. There's a struggle there. I mean, it's how we dealt with people socially. It's a different time. And I just want to have that conversation. You as a licensed social worker, you're on the college campus, you have mentorship, you hear, you see, and you're helping. So please, let's start the conversation.
I got it. Thank you. I think one of the things when you start looking at the social cry and we start looking at some of the issues that, young men face, and especially minority men, I think one of the things that we have to look at is that we have to look at the pressures of the world. There's so many pressures that are surrounding them. They got pressure from home, right?
Right.
They have pressure from academia, right? Trying to be the best intellectual they can be. But then there's a pressure from peers, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And then it goes into pressure of society.
Yeah.
And that's based on the pressures of society norms. You know how they would say men shouldn't cry?
Yes.
Or that adds to what our young men are struggling with. So having conversations like this, hopefully it can be informative to kind of get some eye-opening understanding of the issues that our young men are facing. And here's something too.
Okay.
And I tell people take copious notes.
Take copious notes.
Copious notes.
Here's something that I want people to understand. It's not just the young men.
Yeah.
It's their fathers.
Oh.
It's their uncles. It's their cousins. It's their dads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a widespread issue that we're not talking enough about. So I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this conversation.
So growing up, we played kickball. We played tag. We played kick the can. We played Monopoly. Then came Atari. Then came, the arcade games on the next level. Not just pinball. We went digital. Okay, Centipede, Pac-Man, and the list goes on. And we went from watching out for street lights to wonder whose house we're going to go over. I remember, I'm going to tell you something. The uncle that just passed, he had the first Atari. And we went to his house and played it. Okay? So let's talk about that transition.
Well, I think one of the things that we have to consider is that there's always been a gaming style in our lives, right? It just went from kickball at the park to kick ball on the TV. And here was something about the digital space that most people don't know. It's not so much that it causes isolation, but there's another level of digital connection that most people who are watching those who are connecting digitally don't understand.
Okay, help us.
We learned that through the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
We realized that during the pandemic that we could engage individuals through mentorship, we can engage people through relationships, we can engage individuals through community. But a problem that we often face is that we think that all connections need to be the same. And what's happening is our young people, young adults especially, are spending more time online. And the problem becomes, is it healthy? How they're spending their time online.
Right.
Yeah, that's what causes the challenge. Let me share this with you. When it comes to mentorship, one of the things that we did at the height of the pandemic, we did an I Am King camp.
Okay.
And what was so interesting was we had kids connected to us digitally all over the world. I had a kid in Hawaii who, of course, you all know the time frame difference,
Right.
who will wake up at their time frame just to be connected to our community. So not only is the young man's lifestyle changing, but even that connectivity is changing. It's not as easy as it was for us to make friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of those levels of pressure. But I think as we begin to navigate that, and we got to figure out what's healthy.
Right.
Right. Can you do both? Right. Can you connect digitally, and can you also connect, face to face? They're the same skills. They're just different.
They can, when they talk, they barely look at each other in the face because they too busy doing this and having a conversation. It's like, hold your head up. I mean, I just sit back and I watch, and it's like, yeah, or they'll be standing next to each other, texting each other.
And here, so what we're learning with that is that there's a different language.
Yeah, it is.
That they're communicating in that's almost a disconnect from what we're understanding. That's how you know that there can be so many digital influencers on their life, because there's that change of language. And what I've learned to do, or tried to do with working with young men, I have to be in the spaces that they're in. So if they're going to text, then I'm going to become a good texter. If they're going to be on the game, then we're going to do some games. If they're going to be on YouTube and Instagram, well, here I go, because that's the audience that I'm called to. And I think one of the ways that we help them manage that is to not let them go through those spaces alone, but to be present in those spaces with them. And I always, especially when it comes to like Instagram and stuff like that, I tell young men, I said, I'll follow you if you follow me, and I'll follow you back. Right. And there are some young men, and I give them freedom to say, even if you don't want to accept my follow, if you follow me, at least you have some saved connections, right? On your digital platform. So it's all about that language difference, and it does add to the pressures that our young men are facing.
So speaking of language, and Instagram, IG is what they call it, now that my son is out of school and, in the college now, and, I've been trying to coach him on dating and stuff like this. And it's like, he comes to me, man, Dad, I got to shoot my shot. I'm like, shoot your shot? What the heck is shoot? Man, if you don't walk up to that girl and say, hello, my name is Christian and I'm such and such, so-and-so.
That's shooting his shot.
I know that, Carlette. I'm just saying, speaking of the digital, I mean, the verbiage, the whole lingo has changed. It's like no more do you ask for a female's phone number. Hey, can I get your IG? Like, what is that?
That was weird. I witnessed that.
I mean, let me make it make sense for you all. And this is what it had to do for me. Let's go back to when we were really young. Remember how you could be in the classroom and you had the piece of paper?
Yes.
You might check yes or no.
Yes or no.
Right.
And then you create a maybe.
So the truth of it is, it's really no different. It's just on a different platform.
I
The
guess,
shooting the
man.
shot, it's the same thing. It's the same way of passing a note in the corner as it is in going into a DM. It's the same.
But it's like they don't want to listen to you. Like you try to like I think oh okay. My son is saved, right? But I think he might have a little bit of old soul in him.
Yeah, he does.
Because he'll go back and listen to music that we used to grow up listening to in the 90s, the 80s, like the old, like some of the old I just hipped him on to Babyface, but
he never knew who Babyface was.
What's
Luther
Vandross. I'm like, you listening, that's in your playlist now?
Luther.
I mean, just but then when you try to coach him, like I think, and I don't want to go too deep in how I feel, and but I am. I think those songs play a particular role in dating and how we.
That music was called real music. The stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like okay. So let me go ahead and finish. So. The music we used to grow up on and courting a female was I think partly I think it was good. I'm just gonna say it like that. I think that it was pure. It was no all this other kind of stuff that they singing. Yeah, it wasn't degrading. So I'm like, if you're listening to that kind of music, that type of music should transpose how you talk to a female nowadays. Not, can I get your, no man, let's go back old school and do it the old school way. Hey, my name is Christian. I what kind of, I just don't get it.
But to me, if he were to do that, he would stand out in a positive manner to the girl's parent to say, oh, Susie, he's different. He's not like the other ones. It's like paying respect to even the parents. Like, I'm aware of this is how I should treat a young lady and let her know I'm real and I'm a person.
Well, no. I think you're right on that. But let's stretch it, right? I think what we have to ensure, especially with our young people, is that we teach them the layers of dating. And a lot of times we go into the romantic, right? Because that's what their music is, right? It's that it could be overly sexualizing and all. But then let's lean in onto some of our music.
Come on.
Oh, let's talk about Keith Sweat.
Yeah, he was begging.
Yeah.
Oh, literally.
Begging.
Okay.
Begging.
Literally.
Nobody can beg like him.
Right. So we can go back to some of the OJs and you can go back to some of their music and all of that. I think one of the things that I always try to help young men do is to never lose your values and ethics in your methodology. So regardless on what you listen to and all, don't let it change your beliefs.
Yeah.
So when we start shaping the dynamics of our young men, we have to go back and ask them, what do you believe? Let's go back to your values and ethics, because our values and ethics is what makes us make decisions.
That's true.
So if I have good values and ethics, then I may drop in a DM, but I'm not going to be derogatory.
That's right.
So we have to go back, and especially with working with young men, is to hold them accountable for values and ethics. But we can't hold them accountable if we don't model.
If we don't model
it. Because here is the thing. And I mean, we can take this down the street for the OGs. We can take it down the street for the church members. We can take it on there. How can you tell me to do right and you got moral failures?
Yeah.
How can you tell me to be good to my girlfriend or my wife, and then I see you mistreating yours? So, and here is something, Pastor Chris and Lady Carlette, they're watching so much, and everything that's influencing them is not digital.
Okay.
I was a youth pastor
Okay.
before I became the campus pastor and all of those things. And one of the challenges that I was finding is that there was a group of young people who were learning and trying to work through their identity and find out all those things, but they were watching the people who they look up to put on a mask in front and not live it out. So they struggled with people being not who they say they are.
Yeah, that's real.
So especially with young men, it's not, and here's something else too. It's not that they're not listening. And it's not that they're not taking our advice and all of those things. What they're trying to figure out is, when do I use it? When is the proper time for me to put it on display? So there's a lot of discovery in the using what they learn. That's why I love mentorship. Because it encompasses all of that. It encompasses coaching. It encompasses empowerment. It encompasses correction. It encompasses modeling. And I think when we provide young men with those style tools, then they can grab it along the way. And then we can start looking at the social cry. One of the biggest social cries is fathers in the house.
Yeah.
And not just, and here's another thing, and I want y'all to grab this if you're taking copious notes.
Take your notes.
It's not just them having a father in the house, but them being in a community of people who may not have a father in a house. So having a father in a house may seem strange to them. I've seen that on more than one occasion.
Say that again. Because I'm visual when you talk. Say that again.
Being in a community of coming out of a two-parent home, but their community don't have a two-parent home. So seeing the mother and the father role in their house can be seen as strange as it relates to their community.
Yeah. And they could be bullied because of that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
yeah. But here's another thing, even with that, Lady Carlette. A lot of times those who don't have it desire it.
Oh, yeah.
And would switch places with it in a moment. But the person who's in the community may not know that until later on down the line.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a big challenge.
All right. So let's go. I'm trying to think if I want. Okay. Fear of acceptance / rejection.
I think the baseline.
Go ahead. It's a thin line.
No.
It's a thin line.
The baseline of that is identity. Right? If the baseline of that is knowing who you are and discovering who you are. A lot of times our young people are in the discovery mode and they're not in safe places to discover that. So they start doing what we call exploring. Right? And exploring is not always bad. The challenge becomes if you explore without a foundation of values and ethics.
I'm putting exploration.
She's taking copious notes.
I'm taking copious notes.
Right. So it's the baseline of it is finding out who you are. Going back to the root of most of the young men's problem, and we're looking at research and we're looking at data. The baseline of that can be seen as no father in the home. Why? Because the father being in the home is important because the father names the seed.
Yes.
So that's why they'll find a male online who they identify with because they're trying to figure out who they are in their identity. So what we have to do is really sound the alarm to them that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're the head and not the tail. You're above and not beneath. God said he'll never leave you or forsake you. You're gifted. You're called. You're created in the image of God. They need to hear this consistently, even in the exploratory phase, so they never forget the baseline. They never can forget that God does not make junk. It doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter who like you. It doesn't matter who connects to you. The truth of the matter is when God creates, he creates with purpose, and he does not do this accidentally. He does not.
Let me ask you this. So speaking of that, as a father, how do we correct our wrongs? Because sometimes pride may get in the way, sometimes fear, sometimes there's that gap, that relationship gap, that kind of, I go my way, you go yours, but then you want to come back to your son or our daughter or whatever. And not just for men, but for parents in general. How do you correct that wrong?
I think, and here's the truth, very transparent. I'm teaching this from a space of walking in it myself, right? So there's nobody that I've met know all the answers as it relates to that. But what I found as the baseline is conversation. Having those opportunities to where you can conversate on perspectives, right? And the ultimate goal from the father's perspective and the child is that the child and the father get to destiny. You can't do that if you don't conversate. And in those conversations need to be apologies. They need to be understanding that I hear you, I just don't agree, right? Because a lot of times we can hear it and it can be totally different perspectives. And it doesn't mean that I don't hear you, I just don't agree. And because I don't agree, it doesn't mean I don't love you. I just don't agree with that methodology based on my values and ethics. And I think that's just being able to have that conversation and doing it over and over. Sometimes getting to the place to where you're the listener and not the speaker. And just letting the child share their perspective.
Because sometimes I just want to get it. Come on, let's go. And I get so frustrated. And I sometimes I get it. I start to boil over and I'm just like, dude, are you serious? Man, I can't wait till you go to the military. I'm like, man, I put my burdens on somebody else, put it on the government.
Listen, and even if they go there, because you are a father, the burden just shifts. It never leaves us. It doesn't go anywhere. Remember how we thought that it'll be over when they graduate high school?
Yeah, sure did.
Oh, if you're writing this down, I need you to take copious notes. It does not go anywhere, okay? I need y'all to write. It don't go anywhere.
It don't go nowhere. Let me put that down.
It's a new level.
It goes to 2.0, 3.0.
That's it, right.
Yeah. Because now it's like boys to men. We're starting another transition. Another transition. And timing is everything. All right. So I get that. Now, I did want to ask you this. When you were talking about the validation, that hearing that, the words of affirmation, do you think it's weightier coming from the father than the mother?
In all honesty, I think so, especially for the sons.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
And I think it's weightier because the father is the foundation. He's the seed carrier.
But I've seen sometimes that mother, she might give a certain look and he might do a whole 180. I might fuss at him, but the mama I don't.
It depends on the situation, but for the most part, like it's times that I have to say to him, dude, he wants your approval. He wants it from you. He know he got it from me. 10 toes down. That's mama's baby. I always said that's mama's firstborn forever. I wasn't a mother until you came. You changed my life. I tell him that a lot. And after all that, but what did daddy say? If you don't get your... did you just hear what I said? Yeah, but what did daddy say? Then I come calling him. I really did. And I'm okay with that. Seriously. Like, I understand the dynamic. I get it. My former first lady, I remember her telling me, Carlette, you're doing too much. Shift it to Chris. I didn't know what she was talking about until I tried it. Ooh. When I switched, she's like, you stepping out of out of your sphere. Get that to Chris. And I started giving it. Once I started seeing the effects of it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that now, the other thing I was gonna say, the thing I'm scared of, and I think there's a cry, the social cry, because this is everything we talking is from a social perspective. It's isolation.
For sure.
I mean, it's sometimes it's like, hey, come up here with the fat. Come on, it's time for listen, I get mad. When I cook, you're to eat it hot. If you have to warm it up, that's a problem. And we're all in the house. Stop what you doing. It's dinner time. The table means the world to me. I don't care if we, as long as we in the same room, if we all at TV tables, but we're together. I heard, oh, who was it? Dr. Jamal Bryant. I heard him say, when Big Mama called you to the table, it was more than, she knew the food was the bait, but she wanted to look at your eyes and see where you were. And if we needed to discuss it at the table, around your help and your family, you know, that was her way to see how you were at the end of the week. So you can be something different for the week coming up. Anything you want to say about that?
Absolutely. I think that's a good practice, right? And I think in the busyness of our lives, a lot of people got away from that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's look at what happens at the dinner table. We just finished up in our conversations with the Mentor Club. We do this thing called the family reunion. And I challenge everybody in our community to do what we call Sunday dinners. And that's where you're sitting around together, asking each other these specific questions. Because remember, for our community, Sunday dinner was not just to eat, but it was a place to strategize.
Yes.
It was a place to where we got our finances in order. We got our businesses in order. We knew who was doing what. If someone needed counseling, that's where we did it. We did it at the dinner table. When we got away from that, we lost strategy. We lost that connectivity. So I think that as a practice, it just needs to be something that we do. So we have a practice. Y'all know I'm a foodie. So I love food. I'm the cook in our house. I do 99% of the cooking. Lady Shatan does the 1%, and we're totally okay with that.
That's
Wait,
what
how
works.
come we ain't had none of your food?
We ain't never had it. We're not even going there. We ain't
Okay,
going there.
we ain't going on there right now. We ain't going there,
Not
but
going there.
I got y'all though. I got you. I promise you I got you. You see me trying to do right.
Pictures all on Facebook. But keep going, as you were.
I got you. Yeah. So you got to just have those dinner time talks, but it needs to be practiced, and it needs to be, even if it doesn't feel good or feel normal, it needs to be done as a new habit.
Okay.
Sidebar, especially because the world is changing.
Yeah. It's
And it's
changing
good
so
time
much.
to-
You have to pull back some traditions back.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard my
Because that's
godmother
the place
say,
where you do grace.
yes, absolutely. I heard my godmother say a long time ago, and we were early in the marriage. Christian was maybe 2, but she said something, and it was before our household, was doing this. She said, let me tell you what did happen to the dinner time. Somebody ordering that KFC in the drive-thru. Then somebody gonna stop at McDonald's. Then the other person, and everybody eat out their bag in the car to the next day on their way home. And everybody's done by the time they get home, and then they go their separate ways. Dinner was done in the car with your own food. Everybody got what they wanted. Ain't nobody talking. They ate out the bag and threw it in the garbage, and then went home and did their own thing. They never came together. That visual, that I was like, that's so real. If you look at the history of some of these restaurants, I will say one in particular that has a colonel, and that's what I'm going to say because they ain't paying for nothing on this show. But the history of that, was when the women entered the workplace. They can stop and get a home cooked meal, chicken, sides, a dessert, and bring it home. And if you read up the history of that colonel, He started because of the working woman, because we left the house, we left the kitchen. All right, okay. Mm-hmm. What? Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, food is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful. It is. I love to cook. It's powerful. It brings people. I'm telling you. And when you can cook, you get titles like auntie.
Right. Unc got the food going.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. So, all right. And we winding this up. The other thing of, okay, we can just go here because we really touched the other thing. Flags and warning signs for the need for a real social life.
I think here's some tips. One of them is changing mood and behavior. Right? So that's something that if we're going to be watching, let's look for it. Also, too, when it comes to this need for social, how are they connecting even digitally? Are they playing game? Are they gaming? Are they gaming alone? Are they on apps gaming? Are they on YouTube? Kind of figure that out. It needs to be an assessment there to look. But then also, too, those withdrawals from social activities. When you start seeing the young man who was vibrant, all of a sudden start withdrawing. Used to love tennis shoes. Now he's giving all his tennis shoes away. Loved to have clothes, but now all of a sudden he's not dressing like he used to. When you start seeing those kind of signs, that should be red flags to kind of let you know maybe something is going on, right? Here's another one. When they pull away from serving others.
Oh.
Right? We don't actually look at that, but that is a sign, because that can either tell you that they're distracted or there's a need for them to be served. Right? So we want to look at that, and their friends and support. Start assessing who are they around, who has their ear. Here's a prayer. Y'all know I that's, I'm an academician, but prayer is my thing. My prayer has been, God, don't let me lose my influence in their lives.
Yeah.
Father, give me the voice that they can hear. Give me the language that they can understand. Don't let my pride, my position, my arrogance, my issues, my struggles bleed onto them, because the ultimate goal is I want to be a good steward over my children. Yeah. I want to be a good steward over my mentee. Now that requires a life of submission to God, because you got to put your pride aside, especially when you're raising boys.
Wow.
So I put me on the altar too. So I put them on the altar, and I cover and pray for them, but I also cover and pray for myself. It's like, God, give me the capacity to handle them in this season, because everything in me want to check out. Everything in me want to respond differently than I normally would do. So I ask God to give me the grace that's needed to serve them in the season that they're in, because like my season is changing, so does theirs. And seasons are now changing so fast.
Yeah.
For those who are listening, I need y'all to get this. It's changing so fast. They're experiencing so much more than an hour segment can even explain.
Yeah.
And we have to be graceful with them, because the pressure for them is different.
Yeah.
They're losing friends left and right. Their hearts being broken. There's a spiritual disconnect. Let's talk a little bit about that, right?
Yeah.
The spiritual disconnect. When we went in the pandemic, who did youth ministry? We had ministry. Who did youth ministry? They watched people die too. Yep. They watched the news too.
They did. Yep.
And we can't forget that. So I've been just really trying to slow down, especially with my boys. I'm like, and my mentees and all of those who are connected to me is to slow down and say, it's okay. We can get back on rhythm. And I think if we don't do that, then we're going to continue to see a heightened concern as it relates to our young men.
I think I may have called you a while back. I'm not sure if I did, and I'm not sure if we had this conversation. But for the audience, just being transparent, when is it time as a father to pull back and allow your son to make mistakes and for them to learn? For me, it's hard when I see him going wrong or going down the wrong path, and if I see somebody mistreating him, then I immediately want to jump in and say, no, you're not going to do that to my son. But when is it time to pull back so that daddy won't always be around? And, how do you pull back and get your emotion? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm like a daddy like that. So I totally understand the space. Mm-hmm. You mistreat my kids, you got a whole nother man on your hands. And I'm serious. And I don't care how old they get. It is what it is. I'm a dad. Mm-hmm. But I have to be a dad in the right position.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So I let my sons guide my position, not my placement. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm still dad. Placement. Mm-hmm. Position is where you want me at. Mm-hmm. You want me to have your back? I got you. Mm-hmm. You want me to step in front? I got you. Mm-hmm. You need me to cover the side? I got you. Mm-hmm. Let the son, especially when they're growing up and they're older, share where they need you to be positioned. Mm-hmm. Here's a question I asked my sons. I asked them this recently, and I'm going to ask them again this weekend when we just hanging out. Where do you need me most at? Mm. I just want to know where you need me most at. Here's another question. Am I giving you what you need from me right now? Mm-hmm. And you have to know my boys, they're pretty blunt. They're a lot like me. They'll be like, it ain't really working. I really don't need you to be doing A, B, C, and D. I share perspective and I'll pull back. But here's the other thing. Even with that, Pastor Chris, I also add this question or this statement. When you're out here making decisions, you are a young adult, or what have you. But please let your decisions be something that you have the responsibility for and not making decisions and I carry the responsibility. Mm-hmm. Because that's not manhood. When you make those kind of independent decisions that are risky, you need to handle all of the responsibility. Mm-hmm. So that's the way I kind of flow. So I start the dialogue with those questions. No, and I don't like everything I hear. Can I add that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't like everything I hear. I don't agree with it sometimes, but I let my disagreement be quiet so I can hear what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I don't have a lot to say. I choose to hold it based on the position they want me in.
Wow.
Based on the position they want you. Okay, I gotta use that. Where do you need me in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to raising that daughter, that's a whole different subject. I don't know if I can. I'm always gonna be in the front.
Daughters. Listen, I got spiritual daughters, and I am so happy that Lady Shaitan and I did not have girls because I am like overly protective. So I'm like, yeah, and we already know that your daughter don't even speak to us unless you.
Let's her daddy say.
Listen, when baby girl spoke, I almost gave her offering. Like, look, Ma'am, where's the basket? So we I'm like, okay.
When we were at a Sam's Club one day, she played this man so bad. He was an employee. He was like in management. He was something. She played him so bad, it embarrassed me. And I had to, I was like, I said, sir, you know what this is? This her daddy. Her daddy told her that. He was like, tell your husband he did a good job. We went away, tried again. She did like this.
I was so poised, right? So poised. Well, look, you slap dead in your face. You won't say a mumbling word. Hey,
Not one.
That's my baby
And then
girl.
got in the car and said, hey, daddy. Oh, that was classic. Okay, so for me, when I heard you say, you ask questions, for me, I ask, how you doing? Where's your head? You feeling like doing something bad to yourself? You want to harm yourself? I ask those questions. Do you feel like life is worth living still? I it's a way of asking about that big word without putting the word out there. It's plenty of questions, and they get, oh, mama, I ain't about to do. I'm like, hey, I'm just checking. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
I ask that, and I do it. I watch them, and I ask. I could tell when Evan's overwhelmed. Like today, Evan, where you at? What I said, or do you feel like it's too much? Because this stress devil is showing up at a younger age. Okay, so I'm not waiting till it I'm looking for everything. I'm looking for everything. Like, there has to be another way for us to do this. Okay, let's talk it out. You have no reason to hold that in. You got 2 grown folks that's here to help you, and you got Christian too, because I'm starting to utilize him as well.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, okay, you're gonna have some children. Okay, we can start working now. You can start learning and training now. So that's what it is for me.
Can I add this too, Lady Carlette? I'm happy you brought that out, because a lot of times we don't even talk about the value of counseling enough in our house, right? As an option for self-care. That's the way we do. Like, everybody should see somebody at some point, right? It's a part of your self-care plan. And I think it's been taboo in our community, but it doesn't have to be. You can have Jesus and a therapist. Yeah. You can have the cross and a couch. You can have them both, right?
Yeah.
Jesus had Luke.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely. So we have to make sure that we give them those spaces to say, hey, it's available when you want it. Because sometimes I understand they won't talk to us. So if you ain't going to talk to me, I need you to talk to someone who's skilled.
And say, I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong
I'm okay
with that.
Yeah.
You must be in the upper room.
No,
I like those prints behind you.
That elephant is everything.
Yeah.
I actually am in my prayer room. So
okay.
Yeah.
You got a nice prayer room there, Bishop.
All right, so if someone needs someone to talk in this area, this is someone I recommend. Your men's ministry, your young men's ministry, youth ministry. You need a guest speaker for, and it doesn't have to be ministry. Your school, your book group, your men's group, your chess club, wherever you gather. And you need somebody to come and have that conversation that's licensed professional. How can they get to you?
Yeah, really easy. If they go to my website, williediggs.com, I'm not a therapist. I am a mentor.
Okay.
So I typically refer out as it relates to the therapeutic needs of the people that I serve. But I believe that mentorship is a part of the village.
Right.
So I kind of add that in. So if you go to williediggs.com, you can find me there or on any of the social media sites, the @ I am Willie Diggs. If you do that, then you can DM me. My DMs are always open. I'm open to chat. I'm open to pray. I'm open to refer. I'm open to be support. And I always tell people God has graced me in this area, so I don't get overwhelmed with helping. It's my what I'm called to do.
This is one of the things. I have to go here. It's political, but it's not political.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular project, that's what we're going to call it, it is wanting, if that wins and that project is implemented,
2025.
it is wanting, they ain't paying for nothing. Don't give them all that. They are wanting to call single parents families, not families. What will happen to the culture then?
Well, I don't think that the political arena has the authority to define something that God put in place. So I think when we go back to our basic foundation, family is what God created, and it's one of the mountains of culture if we're looking at it from a marketplace, our perspective of understanding. And once God put that entity in place, culture can't change it. Policies can't change it. Now, policy can determine whether or not it get funded. But why should we allow policy to fund something that church, ministry, entrepreneurs, and all of that can fund itself? So I think that it's a level of authority that those of us who are in ministry, those of us who are entrepreneurs and stuff like that, because you can't fund something without my tax dollars.
Yeah.
Family is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's been family for a long time, which is why we need to be active in the political arena. And this is not a time to sit down. This is not a time to allow that type of rhetoric to place families in trouble. So we should be praying.
Yeah.
We should also be strategizing as well. We should always be voting. And then also, too, we have the capacity to make more change in our roles that we're in right now than possibly that we're doing. So we're going to have to up our game in this season, too.
That's true.
I'm going to go to Mexico.
Dude.
Mexicans trying to come over here. I'm going to go over there where they are. I might just go up to Toronto or something. I don't know.
Wow.
I always tell people I'm going to be right here. And if the Lord allows me to do dual citizenship, then I'll do that. But my father fought for this country. And I just believe that that's a part of that he experienced. So it's just a part of something I'm supposed to enjoy and live. And I can't let them have that without me using my civil rights to make sure that I do everything in my capacity to make sure that don't happen.
I'll be waving at you.
Give me a room in your space in case I need to.
Okay, I got another question. And you can say, Carlette, I do not want to touch that. Have you seen broken boys enlist into the military and come out better?
I have. I've seen our military shape the structure that our young men need and provide them with a level of tools to have the resilience that they need. So I've seen it be a benefit.
That's good.
I've seen it be a benit.
Wow.
Well, man, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
We've
10
enjoyed
o'clock.
your time.
This was good. And listen, we barely scratched the surface.
I had to have a part 2.
This was good.
Well, y'all know I'm always welcome to come back. Anytime y'all need me, literally, just text me.
Yes, sir. We might have to do one in Huntsville so we can have some of that good cooking.
Oh, for sure. And matter of fact, if we ever wanted to invite some other males who really focus on the mental health and all of that, there's a group of us that kind of connect regularly, and we're open to have these conversations.
Oh,
They're
okay.
psychologists,
Really?
they're counselors. Of course, y'all know I'm a social worker and pastor, but
Right.
yeah, they're willing to have those
The
conversations for
whole
sure.
panel.
You think we could have it on Alabama University? What is it? Alabama A&M campus?
We could probably make that happen.
Chris and Carlette live at Alabama A&M. All right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 All right. Well, man, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Candace Lloyd. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Candace has been on here.
Yeah, she's Bridget Pritchard. Who else has been on here?
Go and subscribe to our page.
Yes,
see
let's see.
new names.
Candace Lloyd.
It's a lot. You got to go down. But
It's so many Candace.
She's been in the comments.
Yeah, T. Rochelle Baskin. You know any of these people?
Oh yeah, those are my spiritual daughters. Lady Bridget, Pritchard. We were just together at her family business conference here in Huntsville. Well, we were dealing with things just like this. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
I want to go. Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing the family business conference again next year around the same time, but it's going to be in Miami.
Oh, I
Okay.
definitely want to go.
It's the family's business.
The F is always in Florida.
And Bridget Pritchard, Pastor Bridget Pritchard,
Awesome.
Okay.
is
Okay.
the
All
is the
right.
founder of that. She's phenomenal too.
Yes. So man, we'll call you as soon as we get off the show, and
Yeah,
just as
we'll
a
call
follow up, and maybe lock that Alabama A&M Chris and Carlette live show.
We can talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. All right, man. Well, you take it easy.
Thank you.
so
All right, thank you.
much.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right,
You
you
too.
too. Bye bye.
That was good.
That was good. That was
I enjoyed
good. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to our show. So next week, did you have anything lined up for next week?
Yes, next week we are having one of their faithful. They were supposed to be here at the beginning of the year. They could not make it. They COVID hit, but they're back. But it was something, again, one of these topics near and dear in my heart. Miss Robin Sobamiam will be back, and we're talking about credit integrity. We haven't touched this. We coming for you. We about to go into the holidays. We're talking about credit integrity. That, and when I told her that, she was like, "Oh, Carlette." So she will be our guest next Monday, and we're talking about credit integrity.
And then Labor Day weekend, we will be camping. So we're taking our show on the road. So make sure you all tune in
And
for
this
that.
will be our first meet that we're having.
We're
Chris and
hosting.
We're hosting at Worthen RV Park in Worthen, Georgia. People are making reservations. Listen, come and meet us in person. Bring your RV, bring your tent. Or they even have some on location that you can rent.
Yeah.
So if you go to our page, Chris and Carlette Live, you can see that advertisement and the link as well that you can look at and consider coming. We'll be there a month from now, or the end of this month, the 30th through the September 2nd.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, like every week I tell you, listen, it's time to pray. It's beyond time. If you don't know what to pray for, turn on the news. But pray for your family, pray for your neighbor, pray for our government, okay? Pray for our nation. It's time to pray. The Lord is waiting to hear our cry. The Lord is waiting to hear what we have to say to him. We want him, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins and I will heal their land. That's what we need. We need that. We do it together, okay? We love you all. We look for seeing you. And look, like and subscribe, share. Let's get some more in here, okay? Love you. Take care. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us this week on Chris and Carlette Live. Make sure to visit our website, chrisandcarlette.com, If you're on Facebook, share this broadcast. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our show. You may also find us on Apple Podcast, where you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Let us stay in contact with you by texting CNC Live to 474747. That's CNC Live to 474747.
CNC Live.